Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay.
Atha yoganuशासनम् योगश्चित्त वृत्तिनिरोधः तदा द्रष्टुस्वरूपेवस्थानम् वृत्तिसारूप्यमितरत्र वृत्तयः पञ्चतयः क्लिष्टाः
Okay, now the next sutra. So, this Swarupe Avasthanam, which requires all your thought processes to be straightened, but thought processes to be straightened is not as easy a job that it seems like, right? So therefore, what Patanjali says in the next sutra is, he recognizes that. He recognizes the fact that, getting your buddhi and your thought processes in order, where you get rid of all the hindering ones and only develop all the useful ones which make you see your true nature, is not as easy a job that it sounds like. So the next sutra describes that. Okay, so we will see what the next sutra is. It says, until there is avasthanam, what is, when you're well established in your true nature, what will happen? So here he says, vritti sarupya sarupyam itaratra. This is the next sutra. He says, until you are well established in your true nature, Atma Swarupa, when you are established, this will keep happening. Itaratra means, on the other hand, if you are not established on your true nature, on the other hand, if you are not, what it means is, if you are not established in your true nature, then what will happen is, vritti, the thought, different kinds of thoughts, and which are what? Sarupyam. What is sarupyam? Which is full of different attributes. You keep your eye in this changing vrittis. Do you understand? So what it says is, if you are not able to distinguish between your true nature, then your self-identity always remains in what? Your vritti. What is a vritti? A thought which takes place in the mind. Right? Now, what we need to understand here is very interesting. Suppose, now what is the process through which that keeps happening? And this is one of the most common problems when people come listen to a knowledge like this. Suppose I made you see the fact that awareness, please listen to me carefully, that awareness is attribute free. It doesn't take on the attributes of the thoughts, right? Which is what the thought can be sad, happy, whatever it is, right? Now, the Atma, which is I, the non-changing reality doesn't change with changing thoughts, right? So therefore, now, so I'm telling you, look at this, very important, that your I, that what is the truth of your I am free. This is a statement that I have made and showing you the relationship between what? The mind and I. And what I have shown you is I is free from all the different conditions of the mind. Is it correct? Now, if you are not ready for the knowledge and if the knowledge is not complete, what will happen? And it happens again and again and again, that what happens is you still continue to identify with the mind. Look at this, it's very, very critical. You still continue to identify with your mind and you want the mind to experience freedom, so-called freedom, constantly. Do you understand that? What is happening here? Tell me. What is the nature of confusion?
Think you are free, but you didn't really recognize it.
Yeah, exactly. You're free, but you don't recognize it. Why don't you recognize it?
Because you stuck to your mind.
Exactly. Superb. So that means your identity has not yet shifted from the mind. Whatever I'm describing about the nature of Atma, you are trying to recreate at the level of mind. Do you understand? So that means, suppose I tell you that I am suppose, this is a very big thing, because you are not this little entity, you are free from limitation, right? Just as the space is free from limitation, so this is the truth, right? Because I am, suppose, let's use for the time being, limitless. What you are trying to do is, with the mind, you are trying to feel limitless. Do you see the difference?
Would it be very easy just to say freedom could never be an experience because an experience is duality. It comes and it goes.
Super.
So
If you get it, you get it. Super. Excellent. See, wonderful. That means you're using the teaching to see what the truth is. Wonderful. Did you hear what Swamini is talking about? So some people didn't hear. Can you explain to them?
an experience could never be freedom because an experience always is in the realm of duality. It comes and it goes. It's limited.
It is limited. It's temporary, right? So on temporary, if you're trying to superimpose permanence, will it ever happen? It will never happen. You have to see this. Yes.
Yeah, I was just having, and also you can only experience objects. You
Very
can
good.
never, the mind can never experience the subject.
Very good. In fact, I will put it slightly differently. The mind is able to experience everything else because of the presence of the subject. I'll put it the other way. That is why we used Anvaya Vyatireka. You remember? That the mind, for it to operate, it requires awareness. Awareness, for it to exist, doesn't require mind. right? The with and without thoughts, awareness is. This is why when Matthias was saying that in meditation, while you have no thoughts, you don't even have a thought that I don't have a thought. Right? But you are there. So that means the mind requires I doesn't require the mind. Do you see that? That is what we call Anvaya Vyatireka. The mind, for you to know what's going on in your mind, you require I, for it to reveal itself, it doesn't require mind. When the mind has no thought, there is no mind. Mind is resolved, it still is. Yeah? So therefore, this is the mistake when you make, you will never actually come out of it. Because what is the true nature of Atma? You want to experience it. And experience is, as Swamini very rightly said, they are within the realm of duality. They come and they go. This experience which was not there before has come, and having come, it will go. So that means it falls within a changing world, and what we are talking about is a non-changing reality. So what is a non-changing reality you are trying to create here? Will it ever happen? No. You have to see this. Now, everybody is looking a little... Doesn't matter. So Vedanta works slowly. It's going above. It's going above. It's full. Head is full. Yeah, it's too much information. Okay. The other problem that can happen, let's reverse the problem. The other problem that can happen is, suppose, now let's go back to Tobias' example. Tobia gave an example just a few minutes ago that there will not be a slight fear, because if there is a fear, you don't know your nature. What is happening here? It's a reverse problem. What is a reverse problem?
I'm there and I have fear.
Super. What it means is, exactly, the mind has fear, and that fear which belongs to the mind, then what gets attributed to I. Do you see that? So till you don't get the reality, you keep mixing. And the very fact that you keep mixing, it doesn't make you see the truth. Whatever is said, listen to me carefully. Whatever is said to be the nature of Atma, you try to experience at the level of mind, right? And mind by definition is changing. It's not Atma. So what you do is, you keep the identification with the mind and you try to create the mind as Atma is, which is not possible. The second problem is the other way around. What is the other way around problem? Suppose the mind has fear or sadness, which is a passing fear and mind. You said, oh, if I was really free, I will not feel this. So that means your non-changing I still gets connected to what? Your mind. Do you see? Both ways we keep making mistakes. This is why, to get reality right, you have to have a mind which is a discerning mind. Otherwise, that mix-up continues for a long time. You know? So that means, it's like, you know, let's re-describe this mix-up. Shantala, can you re-describe the mix-up? Anna, you want to try re-describing this mix-up?
I can do it.
Okay, great. I have to make you all participate.
Okay, so
You have another one here.
colors. So this is I.
Yes.
So, and now I becomes pink. As you see.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the pink is a thought.
And the pink is a
I
thought.
think I am pink.
Yes.
So shows up as pink. Hi, I'm pink. So then it's changing. Now I'm green, but in fact it's not green. So I can only use the technical words now.
Yes.
So this is the upahita and this is the upadi or superimposition. So the green is superimposed on our true nature, which is pure, which has no color, no attribute. Yeah?
So that means if the next thought, which is a green, comes and you say, oh my God, now the bottle has become green. The fear comes and you feel, oh my God, I now have fear. Do you see that? And therefore I haven't understood. You understand that? So the nature of, there are two ways in which the confusion continues. One is what is described as the nature of Atma. You want the mind to be of that nature. And this is why the Neo-Vedanta is full of things, right? It says, I am limitless. People start imagining that the mind is limitless. Commonest problem. Commonest problem. And then you think what? Whatever you desire, then what? The universe will give you. Because now you are limitless. Hey, when Vedanta talks about limitless, it's not talking about the mind being limitless. It talks about a limited mind. Why is mind a limited entity? The very fact that there are two minds, it means mind is limited. Right? My mind is different from your mind, means my mind is not limitless. Logic. Right? Your mind has different attributes, my mind has different attributes. Mind is not limitless, it's limited. It's only this, it's not that. Limited. Right? So the limitlessness that Vedanta is talking about is not mind being limitless. In spite of a limited mind, which seems to be connected to awareness, mind has limitation, awareness has no limitation. So anything that I describe about the nature of I, you want the mind to become like that. Are you staying with your confusion, or are you removing your confusion? You are staying with your confusion.
So that means it is a constant process. It will never end as long as we are with our body and our mind. So, because it's important to understand, it's a constant process. Sometimes it's working, sometimes it's not. But you have to analyze it in any case, every time, every day, again and again.
That's why you keep coming every year, hoping that I'll say something else. I'm saying the same thing again and again and again. Right? So this is why somebody's saying, yeah, you're saying same thing again and again and again. And I said, yeah, it's true. I'm saying same thing again and again and again and again. Because why? Exactly because what Tobias is saying, that we keep getting mixed up until the knowledge takes place. This is exactly what Patanjali is saying. Vastu Swarupe Avasthanam is not as easy as it sounds. We keep getting mixed up. And what is our job? What? To keep discerning, right? Until the time what all these confusions go away completely. So that means, but what happens is, it's a continuous process. Right? Don't think that once you have heard it, it will all stay with you and then there will be no confusion whatsoever. The minute you walk out of here and then something will happen and again same thing, oh my life is like this, or oh wow, great. Somebody told me it was interesting, I felt so happy that somebody said that last time they came to my talks and then for a few days they felt so good. And that's wonderful. Nice. For a few weeks, yes, few weeks felt very elevated. Wonderful. Right? So that means what happens is that you're able to retain for a while, but after a point you come back to your original thing. So that means the process of this is not yet over. So this is why I keep saying, don't pretend that you know it. Just because you have heard that this Atma is free, don't pretend that you know it. It's good to know your confusion rather than deny it. Very good. Yuta.
Means again and again we have to override our habitual thinking
Yes,
with the right thinking.
yes,
Yes?
exactly.
And the message is to do it again and again till the bigger autobahn is
Exactly, until it's all just well established in reality. Exactly, you don't get confused anymore. Absolutely. Right? This is the sutra. It's not I who's saying it. This is exactly what the sutra is saying. Right? Vritti sarupyam itaratra. Until that vastu swarupe there is not avasthanam, this will keep happening. And this is why it's natural to have all these questions that we have, and what, because this ignorance which that we have, what Vedanta says, so now, little technical thing, this ignorance that we all have. So somebody asked me in Belgium, I think, right? They said, hey, if this is my true nature, which is free from all of this, why am I born not knowing it? Very common question.
Why am I?
If I am already free, why am I not born knowing this reality? And why do I have to live with this confusion for so long? And even if somebody is telling me, I'm still not able to remove that confusion. So that's why in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna calls it Rajavidya Rajaguhya. Beautiful words. What? This is a vidya, which is what? Rajavidya. What is Rajavidya? It's vidya of all vidyas. Why? Because this knowledge will remove all sense of limitation that you are carrying within yourself. That's the greatest blessing. But it is Rajaguhya. It is the biggest secret. Why? Because every secret remains a secret until it is told. This knowledge remains a secret even after it is told. The teacher every year comes and says the same thing. And every year, oh my God. So, so that means it is Raja. You hear it and it's right there and we still miss it. So that is what, so that means till you totally get it, and that's exactly what Yuta is saying. You have to, because see, the product of this ignorance is what we call anadi. Anadi is what? Without any beginning. So that means we are caught in this anadi, this beginningless ignorance, and we have lived many lives being ignorant of these reality. And what has happened as a result of the ignorance is not a small thing. We are stuck with all these different self-identities from life after life. Now imagine, in one life you feel all of this. What? Limitations, dependence, insecure, mortality, neediness, helplessness. This is your list, by the way, not my list. Okay, feeling incomplete, separatedness, loneliness, frustration, fear of disease, dealing with changes, stress, tension. This is how you have lived for lifetimes, not one life. So now, in one lifetime, it can go away. Please don't think it won't go away. That's a good news. Why can it go away? Because actually that's not your nature. It can go away provided you intelligently use your thinking capacity to get to this truth.
How can I know that I've got there if I can't experience it? If it is not an experience, if experience belongs to duality, I can never attain. There's nothing to be attained. So how can I know when I have attained the non-attaining of the freedom?
Okay. See, the thing is, as I'll put it the other way. as long as you're dependent upon experience, then you're waiting for something to come which is not there. And what did I explain to you the nature of Atma? Always there. So that means you're caught in ignorance. Because you're not using, see, I'm showing you anything that you have thought of for millions of years. If there was no Atma, you would not have known. Right? So that's what. So you have to, that's why I'm saying how important it is to follow the teaching. Because it's true, on your own you can't figure out. This is why you need an external entity to make you see certain realities. On your own you can't come out. But if I use the teaching with and the methodology intelligently, you're able to see it.
But to come back to when I'm born,
Yes.
I'm free or
Okay,
not
very
because
good.
I thought,
Excellent.
Babies are free of
Superb.
it and they lose it
Superb.
by education,
Excellent.
environment.
This is a very common thought. I'm so glad you said it, because here in the notes I have written it, right? So there is a very important thing which is to understand that do we come knowing the nature and then we lose it, or we come not knowing the reality? Big question. Not knowing the reality.
We don't know anything.
So exactly. So that means when we are born ignorant of the world and ignorant of ourselves. But because of that ignorance, what seems is almost seems like a bliss, right? Baby is ignorant of everything, so it seems happy, right? But as you start growing up, then what happens is, what this ignorance which is till yet not manifesting because the mind is not developed, it begins to develop when you begin to develop your self-identity. So they say age, a 2-year-old child is a difficult child because at the age of 2 you begin to see your separation from the world. The mind is developed enough and it begins to see the separation. Until then, the mind is not developed enough to see the separation. It doesn't mean the ignorance is not there. Ignorance, as the mind develops, starts manifesting.
And in the astral world, we are also not knowing in the astral world.
Yeah, so so now I haven't yet talked about astral
I
world.
mean, before we were born.
Yeah, so nobody, see, if the whole contention is, the minute you remove this ignorance, you are in your Swarupa Avasthanam. That means you know I'm awareness which is never changing, which is never displaced. Right? We are not talking about one person who's here and there. That is what, if you think you are one entity in the universe, even if you are traveling in an astral body, are you a person who has knowledge or no knowledge? Tell me. You are still connected to some other astral body, right? So that is still an identification with the body and mind. Different body and mind, but it is still an identification with body and mind. We are not talking about traveling to other worlds with little bit more experiences and with little bit more power. We are talking about a non-changing awareness which is one and which is the whole, which is limitless. Do you see the difference? It's a very different thing. Do you see the difference? I'm a non-changing is a very, so that means that from astral body you come back to some other body. Is it a changing or a non-changing? Changing. So you are still within samsara. Yeah? Okay, that is clear. Oh, good. Okay, so now this ignorance is anadi. So therefore, in one lifetime, you can start, as we said, this mind is used to actually remove ignorance about everything else. In one lifetime, you can use the very mind to remove ignorance about the nature of mind. Why would you use the mind to remove the nature of I is because you are stuck with a self-image and identity which is not acceptable to you. Otherwise there would not be any incentive. The universe is designed in a way that if you are stuck with a wrong identity, it brings suffering. And nobody can stand suffering. So everybody tries to elevate oneself from suffering, and one tries so many different methods to free oneself from suffering until one figures out that whole starting point problem. What is the end? What is the means? What is the preparedness? And what is the application? If you don't have clarity about that, go on. So therefore, it's very important in one lifetime for you to figure out what you are doing actually. What is exactly your problem and how you're going to solve it. If you don't have clarity about that, you will keep traveling from one astral body to the other and going here and there and have good time. Wonderful. There's nothing wrong with that. But you're stuck with your identity with body and mind. Different body and mind, but you're stuck. And as long as you are stuck with any given body and mind, you are a small little speck in the universe. Understand that. What is the position that any given body and mind occupies in the universe? Whether it is this body or some exalted body. What is the place that it occupies in the universe? What is the place that any body occupies in this vast universe?
A small fly.
Exactly. It's not even, in the map of the universe, if I ask you, put Earth, Earth itself will be a speck. And within this Earth, what? Germany, yet another speck. Within Germany, Bonn, yet another speck. Within that, Yoga Vidya, yet another speck. Within Yoga Vidya, this room, yet another speck. Within this room, you, yet another speck. If this is your true nature, where is freedom? Where is fulfillment? No matter what you do with your body and mind, no fulfillment. So therefore, your understanding of who I am has to change. So this is why. Until you understand this, there is no real freedom. Yeah? And what happens is, the teacher keeps showing you again and again and again, but you are still keeping on mixing the two. This is why it remains Rajaguhyam. Your buddhi is not able to see these two things clearly. Tobia, you had something to say?
No, for me it looks like that evolution is a process in which, let's say, we are able to understand who we really are. But the price is that there's a side effect. It's all the stuff with the fear and so on and so on. So, and the identification with the mind. So, in the end, it's like, in the process of evolution, the brain developed, but the side effect is that we just created fear that is not like based on instinct, it's just fear that is based on like, thoughts and fantasy.
So your self-created thoughts.
Yeah, so the side effect of a bigger brain capacity is that we create stories, like bigger stories, but they don't solve the problem at all. You know what I mean?
They keep you in the problem.
They keep you in the problem.
Very
This is a remedy for it.
Yes, exactly. Very good.
And the proof is animals don't have this problem.
Yeah.
They don't have this problem.
Yeah, but the animals don't have this problem not because they understand the nature of Atma, but because the mind that they have is a basic mind which is not able to engage in this inquiry. That's why they say human birth is an important birth, because you are given a mind which is able to make you figure out what is what and get out of this whole problem of limitation. Yeah? Okay. Now, I know I have to stop. It's past 6.
6:10.
Okay, quarter past. So I will stop. What the next sutra which we will see is how this total mix-up that we carry for anadi, the thoughts, the second sutra said is what you have to restrain the thoughts. So the next sutra will talk about what are the different kinds of thoughts and which helps us and which doesn't help us, right? So we'll see that. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.